Hello, hello, it's June Olson with Junebug Creations, independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator coming to you live from Whitefish, Montana. And of course, I had to have a coughing fit right before I was about to hit the face picture camera thing. it's just, it is what it is, right, folks? That's just kind of what happens sometimes. All right, so it is Thursday, therefore it is Thunderstruck Thursday, and I've got some great ideas for you today. My first question, let me just look because I've asked you a couple of questions today. So my first question is, what do you do with all the strips you accumulate from cutting your paper projects? So when you're cutting and you end up having strips of all different sizes, what do you do with them? Do you throw them away? Do you put them in something to save them for something down the road? Or maybe you know exactly what you're going to do with them and you keep them in a specific spot. So that was one of the questions. What do you do with all the strips of papers you get when you have cut for a card or project? The next question I had for you was, what size strips of cardstock or DSP do you tend to keep hanging on to? Like maybe you get rid of the really, really tiny ones. I get rid of those. But maybe you keep the 1/8 strips. Or maybe you keep only the 1/2 inch strips. Or maybe you keep the 3/4 inch strips. Or maybe you just keep the 1 inch strips. You see what I'm getting at? What strips, what sizes do you tend to keep? And what sizes do you tend to say, you know what, I don't need that. I've got a lot. So let me know about that. And then my third question for you was, let's see, where is it? I'm looking. All right, so my third question was, how many cups or tubs or bins do you have full of paper pieces? All right. You might not be wanting to answer because you're probably saying, June, that's embarrassing. I'm not going to let you know how many tubs and bins and whatnot I have full of paper scraps that I don't really touch that much. Well, let me be the first to share. All right, I'm going to go ahead and switch cameras so that you can see it all. And I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit because this isn't enough space. Yep. All right, so we're going to go out this far. All right, so first off, when I cut my papers and I have larger strips, I have this bin here. All right, and I do have them in color family order because that's how I can find things. And they are, you know, larger strips like that, some wider ones, and then some in the middle. They go all the way down to short, or like this one. I used something off of it, but I didn't use anything else, so I kept the rest of it. And then I have some of these, and then I have some shorter ones, some card fronts. Oh, that's a card layer. Oh, and I have a whole stack of pre-made card bases. All right, and then sometimes just some torn ones, some partial ones. And I go through and I have pretty much something of every color. See, like this one, I've just done that. So I could, sometimes I'll tear it off like that, and then I'll just keep this part. All right, but you can see I have quite a bit of smaller pieces. And then when I'm looking for a piece to punch or to die cut, I dig through here first. All right, so I have all different kinds of shapes and sizes of things. Oop, this one actually should be over here. Yeah, I've got more to show you. So should that one. So some of these things are strips. So I've got them in this bin that I got from 31, but they're not around anymore, but I know you can find them elsewhere. All right, so that's one bin that I have. Then I have my white bin, and I just reorganized that. So back here are all my acetates from stamps to use for whatever on cards. All right, then I have some other sticker things, and then I have all my white pieces. All right, here's some white strips, some other white strips. Then I have my shorter and skinnier white strips, and then I have my black and my very vanilla here too. But along with this, I also have a cup This was something I got at a convention. It says, "My house goes to slop whenever I crop." That one's not as readable. Let's see. Here we go. This one's the most readable. "My house goes to slop whenever I crop." Because it did, and it does. If it weren't for my mother helping out, yeah, it'd be kind of a mess over there. So this cup has my wider strips, my inch or more strips. And yes, there are some over here because this cup only holds so much. But you can see I always have a lot of white. And then I make sure to use this though. Then you saw, hold on, I've got this in order. Then I have the smaller colored pieces, all right, of all different sizes and all different, you know, different things, different shapes, but still enough to die cut or punch something out of or to use for something. So I have all those, again, kind of in color family order. Here I have the lighter colors, here I have the darker colors, the neutrals and the regals, and then I have the brights and the subtles up here. And so I have all of these, and I actually do look through all this before I go and get a large piece of paper. I start with all the small pieces and work my way up depending on what I'm looking for. So I really do use it, but I had to pull this out of here because this was too full and things were falling out, and now it's a lot more manageable. All right, so you got to organize the way it works best for you. So I'm still not done. All right, so I showed you this with my wider strips. Then I have this one with my skinny 1/8 inch strips. And then I have this one with my 1/2 inch strips. And this one is a big old tub because this is the one, this is the size I tend to have the most of, is the 1/2 inch strips. So I am coming up with ideas of how to use them. A lot of times, especially the white, I use it for sentiments. All right, but I also use other colors for sentiments. This just happens to be the most popular size when I'm cutting for a card that I have. All right, so then I have this one, and then of course I have my thicker, my wider strips. And so I have bared all when it comes to strips. So now the question is, what do you do with them? How can you make something of them? Well, let me show you 2 cards that I made, and then we're going to make a card together. So the first one I did is I took just plain strips of cardstock on a small, ooh, what size is that? 3 3/4 by 5 inch piece of white cardstock, and I glued them down, butting them all up together, and then I cut around the edges, and then I put it through the sunflower embossing folder, which I just saw is not currently available. It has been going out of stock every time it comes in stock. It's amazing. This was the first time I've used it, but I thought you can emboss the cardstock, and that gives it a little extra flair. And it was completely random on how I put the stripes on there. I decided to go in a diagonal. I could have also done it this way, but I went in a diagonal. I just butted them up against each other. Once it was all done, I cut around the edges, and then I put it in an embossing folder, and you can use pretty much any embossing folder you want. Then I used the Mix and Match Greetings for All ephemera pack and took out the thank you, and then I added some black baker's twine. I put it on a white frame, and then I put it on the black card base. That way it kept the focus on all these colors. So you can do that. That's one way that you can use it. Use your strips. Here's another one. This one is all DSP strips. All right, very random, you can see, but it kind of pulls it together by using the black and white. So I pulled out also, let's see, this one was from Saying Something ephemera pack. I pulled out the Hip Hip Hooray, grabbed one of my strips of black, put it on there, did my little banner end, because with Hip Hip Hooray you need a banner end, right? This time I put that white piece of paper with the strips on black, then on white, and then on the black card base. And on this one, I popped it up after the black, not after the white. On this one, I popped it up with the dimensionals after the white. So here are two possibilities with your 1/8 inch strips. All right. You can also do cards where you mix up cardstock and DSP. This one is just DSP, this one is just cardstock, but you can mix them up and you can have flat DSP, flat cardstock, or you can have embossed cardstock. It's just a matter of what do you want? How do you want it to look? So these are two ways with the 1/8 inch strips. I did diagonal here, I did straight across here. There are other patterns you can make with strips. We're going to go ahead and switch gears, and I'm going to pull out some papers from this one. It looks like it may be mostly, let's see, here's a DSP. I want a combination of DSP and, oh, here's a fatter one, two fatter ones. All right, that was probably in there from before I started doing that other cup. All right, so we want to have some different colors. Let's grab a blue. And I mean, some of these colors are retired. Some of them are current. I don't worry about that when I'm doing something like this. All right, it doesn't really matter. You want to have a white in there and you want to have a black in there just so that you do have something else and not always the same colors. Here we have a lemon lolly, and I'm just pulling out a bunch. Now, let me see if I can find, here we go, some more. There's the other side of that one. I apparently don't have very many DSP strips in here. I probably have them in their packets. That's where they usually end up, but I've got some, so I'll just use the different sides of them. And then we've got here some red. That looks too Christmassy, but that we can get away with. That's Christmassy. That's Christmassy. So we don't want to do that. Let's see. Let's see. What other colors do we have in here? Oh, here is, that one's there. All right. Here we go. Let's see. What other colors do we have? We need an orange. Here we go. Ooh. Oh, those are some short ones. Let's see if we can get some. Well, I can use some short ones because I'll be able to use those on the end. Then that looks like it should go in there. There we go. Just pulling out. Here we go. Some Night of Navy. All right, let me see if there's any more DSP in here. I was hoping there would be more DSP in here, but apparently I frequently leave that. There's the Christmas one, so we can't use that because I don't want this to be a Christmas card. So I guess I need to put more DSP in here so that when I'm doing this, I've got some. I think we probably have enough strips to do something with. So let's give it a whirl and see what happens. I can always grab more out of there. So I have that, let's see, is it, ooh, that one's 3.5. That one's a little smaller than I intended. Let me grab another, whoop, see, right here, I have a piece of paper because I had it close to me. So I like to do 3 3/4. 3 3/4. Here's a strip. I'm going to put that over here in my fatter strip one by 5. There's another strip, but it's shorter, so it's going to go over here in this little divider thingy. Yep, I really do that. You're like, oh my gosh, June, I can't believe you do that. I do. All right, so let's go ahead and emboss a couple of these. Let's see. We'll emboss. Let's see. Let's emboss a few. I think we'll keep some not embossed and we'll emboss a few. So what I did is I brought over my little mini machine for you. We'll go ahead and zoom that out. I don't know how that got all of a sudden zoomed way in. Was it always like that, or did I accidentally hit it? Jeepers. All right, I'm going to use here the glass. This is from the Garden and Glass set embossing folders. I'm going to go ahead and use this fun pattern, and I'm just going to stick a few of these in here like this. And then of course we'll make sure they're not together on the card. And we'll do the blue. And we'll leave it right there like that. I'm going to close that. And then we're going to see, we need the first embossing, let's see, which one? 1 and 4, that's what it says. 1 and 4, nope, here we go. 1 and 3 for the embossing folders. The standard embossing folders is 1 and 3 for this one. Now remember, the sandwiches are different between this machine and the regular size machine. Hi, Missy. That's okay. You can go back and catch the beginning and see what's up. I think you have an idea because we've done stuff like this before. So we've got some patterns there now. And then I'm going to do a couple of them on this embossing folder. So I'm just going to do a green and a pink on this embossing folder. And I'm not even using the color names because, yeah, not everybody knows them. And sometimes it gets, oops, here we go, 1 and 3. The mini is a little bit different. I have my sandwiches memorized for the big machine, but not for the little machine. I don't usually, okay, come on. There we go. It just went for the other one. All right, come on. Here we go. Yeah, I don't use this machine a whole lot because it's just easier to use the other one. All right, let's get this out of the way. Move all these things out of the way. And here we have, there we go. We want this one. All right, so I'm going to go at something, it's called a herringbone. All right, but I don't know if this is going to be exactly, I like to just do my own thing instead of doing what everyone else is doing. So first I like to just kind of lay it out and see. I think we're going to alternate and see what I think looks good, what goes together. Ooh, I like that one. All right. And then we can do another one. This is a little bit fatter. I think we'll go right here, like that. And then we'll use, here we go, one of these. All right, and that just kind of brings a different look. So I've got this little corner, which is really hard to do. So I'm actually going to move this over. All right, because it's hard to put a little piece on a corner. So I'm just moving this right over to the corner. And then we're going to make it go this way. So we're going to just do a different direction. Here we go. Let's go ahead. These are a little bit thicker than those. A little bit wider. Oh, that's the other side. All right. Here we go. Now you can make sure that all your strips match by all means. That's a great way to go if that's your preference. Oops. Here we go. Don't want to move it. All right. Oh, we do need some pattern paper over here. I may have to just trim this down because it is just a smidge too wide. So you want to make sure that they're all about the same size. So these are all 1/2 inch, and apparently that one was not. I want to be able to use the other side, so we're just going to trim it down to 1/2 inch, like that. There we go. And then these I do throw away because that's just not worth keeping all those. It's just too challenging to keep all those. So we're going to do that. Do this. We'll put this over here. We're going to put this one over here. All right, so you get the idea, and I know I have a few more pieces. So now what I want to do is move those out of the way. You can do this with green glue. I find it easier to do it with this. So what I'm going to do, this is the Stamp and Seal Plus, because this one does not, this one works better for me. It doesn't make me fight. So we're going to go right up close to the edge. All right, and if you go off the edge like I did over here, just roll it in with your finger and it will be totally fine. All right, so then I'm going to go right along the edge here of my paper, and then over here right along the edge of my paper. And then I got to, because these are larger strips, I don't have to go as tight together. On these cards, I had to run the strips right up next to each other. All right. This one, you can have a little bit of a gap because these strips are wider. All right, but you don't want too much of a gap because you want it to be able to be stuck down. But I find that because it takes a little while to lay it out on here, yes, you have more wiggle room with the green glue. However, you're not going to need as much wiggle room with this, and you can still push it together even though it is on here. All right, so there we go. All right, so I had this one across. I think I'm going to use Night of Navy. No, I'm going to use the yellow across here like that, and then I'm just going to lay it down. And then I've already grabbed different ones, so you want to shove it up against it so it's good and tight. No gaps, because then you'll see the white. So no gaps. I'm gonna do this. Push it up against each other. This is coming out totally different. All right, so that's okay. I'm going to use this one going this way. And you don't want too much hanging over both sides. This one I did a little bit more even, but see how most of them are hanging back that way? That's a better way to do it so you're not having a whole lot of little pieces, because this longer stuff is still usable. All right, then I'm going to, that's not quite long enough. So then we're going to come off of here. Oh, I guess that one was long enough. Here we go. We'll do this on this side. And then do this one over here. Like that. Then let's get a plain one in here. Let's do some purple. I don't have any purple in there. So we're just pushing it up against it like this. All right, now we'll get this pattern in there next to each other. Here we go. Another one like that. So you can see we're just filling it in now. Let's see. We'll go with this one. I'm going to bring another pattern over here. And that little corner, it'll be easier if it is DSP. There you go. And then I'm going to go ahead, because I know it's going to kind of fall off, I'm going to cut that long piece off so it doesn't pull it off. All right, and then, oop, that one's there. There we go. I didn't get any white or black in there. That's okay. I think I like the idea of the colors. And let's do this one. And like I said, I'm going to cut it off over here. That way it's not, there we go. I'm going to cut this one off because I know it's just a corner. All right, so now it kind of looks like a mess, but you want to make sure everything is together. Then we're going to take it, we're going to flip it over, and you're going to cut along the white edges. All right, so you're cutting just along the white edges of this paper, just like that. All right, and remember, you can do pretty much any pattern you want. You had fun with your strips the other day? Yes, I remember seeing that. You did do a great job with those. Yeah, so I'm kind of calling this scrap timber. All right, and doing stuff this month with scraps. How can you use your scraps? Because we all have them. Now, you might be one of those people who can just throw them away, and kudos to you. There are some days I wish I could. But I have a hard time throwing them away. They have to really, truly be unusable for me to put them in the recycle bin. But I always put them in the recycle bin. I don't just throw them away. There we go. Let's see. So, but I love the fact that you can emboss any of them as well. They don't have to be just flat. I see a hair. Losing my hair. All right. There we go. All right, look at that. So then all these tall ones, I'll go as, I won't go quite that short. Sometimes I will. If I'm working on a whole bunch of cards at one time, then I will keep the smaller ones to fill in those little corners. Maybe I will keep those. Yeah, see, I have a hard time. Can you tell? I have a hard time. I'll throw those in the recycle bin, but all of these can go back into my bucket. All right. And so then we have this, and it has lots of different textures, lots of different colors. All right. And you can either have it like this, you can have it like this, or like this. And I am not sure which way I want it to go. So I'll start by putting it on my white background. You can either use black or white. It just depends. It'll set the colors off. I kind of feel like this one needs black. And since I have, there we go. I did not have a black one. I think I'm going to reverse this and do, ooh, I don't have a white. Hold on. We're going to reverse it. And we're going to do it on a white base with a black frame. All right, so the frame will be 4 by 5 1/4. Your first layer is always 4 by 5 1/4. See, this is 1/8 of an inch, so I'll tend to stick that over there in that cup. And then let's go ahead. We're going to do a long one. This is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Scored, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. right. So let's go ahead and reverse all that. So we're going to burnish that so it stays. We're going to have the card portrait this time. I'm going to go ahead and put this on here, and look how much better the colors pop. All right, here it is on the white. Colors don't quite pop, but here they pop. Now this one worked out because there were a lot of darker colors in here, so the white made those colors pop. But like this one, these are all lighter colors, so I used the black and that made them pop. These are all lighter and brighter colors, so we're using the black to make those colors pop. Because, you know, if it's not going to pop, why bother? Why bother? Make it look good. All right. So we're going to glue that on here. And then we're going to use dimensionals to put it on our card base. All right, we're going to use dimensionals to put it on our card base. And usually, I don't know, I usually do, I don't know, anywhere from 5 to 8, 3 on each side, and then 2 in the center so that it doesn't sag. This is a pretty heavy layer, so you really can't use too many because you don't want it to be all saggy. All right, so then, do I want it that way? Do I want it this way? I kind of like it like that. All right, there we go. So then I need some words. All right, I need some words. You don't necessarily want to add a whole lot to it. You could add some leaves or something, but I'm going to see if I can find some words that I want. So there's a thank you, sorry for your loss, you did it. That might work. Oh, happy day, that could work. Sending sunshine, that's nice and bright. Sweet baby, congratulations. Best wishes, thinking of you, welcome. Ooh, we could do welcome, sweet baby. Oh, happy day, welcome, sweet baby. What do you think? Give me some ideas. Merry Christmas, oh, happy day. Another welcome, best wishes, sweet baby, you did it. Hello. I think I kind of like Happy Halloween. See, now if you focus on certain colors and you alternate certain colors. Hi, Beth. Black is better. Yes, it is better. Never thought of embossing the strips. Love that idea. Okay, yeah, emboss the strips. Why not? Look how it changes it up. It makes it look like you have that much more on there. This looks fun. You need to give it a try. Yes, because I'm sure, Beth, that you have tons of strips as well from all your playing with your cards. So we're going to do this. We're going to do Oh Happy Day, Welcome Sweet Baby. And we're going to put all of that on dimensionals. All right. Whoop. Let's see. I'm sure I have some. Here we go. And my take your pick tool, because that's just way easier when dealing with these little ones to use that. All right, here we go. Because it does, I mean, I'm not a big believer in using only pastels for babies. So this has a variety of things on it, a variety of colors. When Kitar was new, like his room was not pastels, his room was animals. And so it was blue and browns and then the different animal colors. And the main colors were blue and brown. And so I wanted to pick a theme that he could grow with. And he did grow, and he had planned on being a zoo veterinarian. He was a large animal veterinarian. He was going to go work at a zoo because we used to go to the zoo in Tucson all the time. And then in 5th grade, when we moved to Colorado Springs, he had to do a pretend operation on a pig's stomach that had fake blood in it. And he wasn't feeling so good, and he came home very sad because he decided that then and there that he could not be a veterinarian because he could not handle blood. And that was kind of a sad day, not just for him, but for us, for me, because I was excited about him working in a zoo with animals. But he was very sad and came home crying, saying, I can't be an animal vet. I can't handle blood. So that was a bummer that he discovered that in 5th grade, but he's very happy what he's doing, cybersecurity or learning cybersecurity. So it all works out the way it's supposed to. It was just kind of a weird way for him to discover that, right? So look, oh, happy day. Welcome, sweet baby. And all I did was put the strips on there and then grab one of my favorite ephemera packs. So, man, hang on to these ephemera packs because you just never know. And you can mix and match them. And look, I used 3 different ones and it came out great. I love how that looks. Isn't that awesome? Yay! All right, and then you could put some strips on the inside if you wanted to. You could put some strips to the side. I did a little bit of strip. Oh, that sounds funny. I did use some strips. Let's put it that way. I did use some strips Monday in the Paper Pumpkin Playdate alternate. I used the Need for Tweed strips that I had and used those to just kind of partially decorate a card, not cover the whole thing. All right, looks great. Thanks, Beth. Yeah, so here are all the cards. All right, with just different ideas. So these are the thinner strips. I put all plain ones on and then ran the whole thing through the embossing folder. All right, this one I just used DSP strips. And I don't know, personally, I think any of the diagonals look better than just the straight strips. All right, so there are some options for you of how to play with all your strips of paper that you can have, and then make your life easy and just get some of the ephemera packs, and then you can just use that and you're done. No stamping at all, but using up your paper strips. So I wanted to remind you all that it is not too late to get in on the double dipping, the mystery boxes plus Stampin' Rewards, and psst, it's actually triple dipping because I'm covering the shipping cost to get your mystery box to you. So get in on the triple dipping. Place an order of $20 or more in my online store. Make sure that you have chosen me as your demonstrator, because if I don't get the email saying you placed an order, then you won't be getting a mystery box. All right, so then you'll get a mystery box of retired goodies equal to your order total before tax and shipping. And of course, I always stick some surprise extras, you know, maybe some ribbon, some gems, things like that, maybe some card bases. And you get to earn Stampin' Rewards from Stampin' Up. All right, so I'm working towards the Alaska cruise. It's a bucket list. It's a bucket list thing for my husband and my son and I. So I have been working hard towards this trip. Any help you're able to do, that's great. My thank you for helping you is that mystery box of retired goodies. And I have quite a bit. I have had lots of orders, so don't wait too long, because if I run out of stuff, then I run out of stuff. So get your orders in. This goes until Saturday at midnight. All right, so the 13th at midnight is when this ends. I'll be sending out a newsletter reminder for you today, right after this, and then there'll be some more reminders here on Facebook as well. So get your orders in, get your mystery box coming to you next week. All right, so take care, have a great rest of your Thursday, and I will see you back here officially on Monday, but there's a good chance that I may pop in either Friday or Saturday with a quick live. Actually, not Saturday. Saturday is my Super Saturday with Kelly Toronto, the late night stamper. It's a 6-hour event from 9 to 3. I know Missy's going to be there. We're going to have a great time. I can't wait, using the Sweet Jar and the Jar of Joy stamp sets. And we're going to have a great time stamping and creating 10 projects together in 6 hours. Woo! Get your energy up. Get a good night's sleep, Missy. All right, everybody. I'll see you back here officially on Monday morning at 9:30 for another Paper Pumpkin play date, and maybe some surprise pop-ins this Friday and Saturday. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.